Well, so there's bears under the house, bobcats in the backyard. Do you live on the roof?
Yeah.
Wow.
You locked the doors, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fandom Entanglement, and we're doing a special bonus episode. We're skipping sequence a little bit, but it's for a special occasion, which we will talk about in a second. But I'm Damon Sugameli. This is my co-host, Mike Bloxam.
Hello, everyone.
So joining us, we have from Station 823 and Treksploration, Albie Burdge.
Hello.
Hello. From Treksploration and the Quantum Leap podcast, Christopher DeFilippis.
Hello.
From the KORMAN Productions Deep Dive TV podcast. Did I get that right, Stacie?
Got it.
Hey. Stacie Wilcox.
Hi.
And from Earth Prime, joining us once again, the webmaster of earthprime.com, Matt Hutaff. Welcome back, Matt.
Happy holidays. I feel left out. Every one of you all have a podcast, and I don't.
I know a guy who produces podcasts if you want to start one.
Well, Matt, there are podcasts and then there are podcasts, which is what we do.
Yeah.
Hey, if you are a nerd and someone says the name Serenity, you probably think about the classic film about space cowboys. Or maybe you're like, is that one of those space rovers? Was Mars rovers Serenity? It isn't, but it should be. But hopefully, in the very near future, when someone says Serenity, you'll think, Serenity. Oh, that's that girl that those cool people sent to space camp. Here's where you come in, cool person. Serenity Burdge has always been fascinated by space and science stuff. So when the opportunity came to actually go to space camp, it was like a dream for her. The down payment has already been paid, and now we're just raising funds to pay the rest of the way there. And you can scan the code that you see on your screen to go to a GoFundMe page and help out. And speaking of helping out, friends from more than a dozen shows and podcasts are working to do their part to help make it happen. In the first video, our team comes together to review the 1986 movie Space Camp starring Lea Thompson. Second video, another review of Space Camp, but this time it's like an After Dark version with the incredible Scott Madison. In our third episode, our friends at Al's Place and Deep Dive TV podcast about the Quantum Leap episode Atlantis to support Serenity going to space camp. And Damon Sugameli, Stacie Wilcox, and Brian Green, and Hayden McQueenie join Chris and Albie as they watch the infamous Quantum Leap episode Diaper Monkey. The wrong stuff. And next up, more Scott Madison, but this time on his home turf of That Star Trek podcast, where he and Nick Yeager and Rick Tatro will talk about the Next Generation episode, The Royale. It's got a NASA astronaut in it. You get it. And keep checking in because we're adding more people and more videos all the time. Look, Space Camp is a one-of-a-kind experience for a kid. It's really cool. Not only is there math and science and STEM and all the stuff you expect, but there's cool projects. It's hands-on. It teaches teamwork. It teaches leadership skills. It is just all around an awesome experience for a kid who's into science. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. That's fine. I really did that.
So I guess I'll let Albie, or I guess Chris could say it too, whichever one of you want to say why we are here tonight doing this out-of-sequence episode.
I'm not going to steal
Chris.
Albie's thunder. Albie, this is
okay.
your baby.
Chris
This
has
is your
to
baby.
tell Albie to say it if you want
Right.
to stay in continuity of how this has been working.
All right.
So, Damon, you already did my part.
Right.
Chris is the guidefather. I am the father. It is my daughter, Serenity. She is going to space camp with your help. We paid the down payment. She got in. And this coming spring, she's going to Huntsville, Alabama to go to space camp. So there is a GoFundMe. It's part of her school fundraising campaign, and she goes to a private online school. So each student funds for themselves. That's part of the class. It's a STEAM class about space and science and engineering and all the things. And she's so excited to go. So like I said, the down payment's paid, but we're trying to raise funds for the rest of it. And besides the rest of the payment for the class, we got to raise funds for things like travel and expenses and all the things. And she needs jackets and sleeping bags. I don't know what she needs. She needs swimwear.
People got to eat at space camp too, right? People got to eat. Dad's got to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that stuff. So that's what we're doing. And so many of my friends have been so gracious, donating their time and energy and using their channels and their influence and everything to come together and just have fun and record things that have something to do with space, NASA, space camp, space travel. So we've been doing a whole bunch of things. I think this might be the 7th episode that we're doing together for the fundraiser, and it is going well. So I'd just like to say thank you so much to everyone who's donated or taken time to be a part of the recordings or sharing or anything that helps. I really appreciate that. So we're trying to raise that money, and there'll be a link below on screen. What is that, Stacie?
GoFundMe.com/Serenity Space Camp.
Yay. And there'll be a QR code. Just click that with somebody's phone that's got money and just go tap, 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 tap. And we're good. Thank you.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a Sliders episode, and then it was like talking with Matt. It was his suggestion, like the Return of Maggie Beckett was kind of like more space related, I think, than anything else, right? So
yeah. And frankly, I don't know how you've gone 25 years without having seen this episode.
I have not. Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
I don't remember it, but I know I watched them all. So
Same.
I can say it was very, very easy to miss it.
Really?
Our impressions might differ, Chris. It'll be interesting to see.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's just so this is season 5, episode 9, The Return of Maggie Beckett. And it originally aired August 13th, 1999, and this was on Sci-Fi, so this was after the Fox years and post O'Connell Brothers. Should we do the regular synopsis, and then Chris has his own synopsis? Should I just read what we have and then Chris goes into it?
Yeah, you know why? Because yours will probably be a bit more cogent to give mine some grounding.
Okay. So, Maggie's feelings for her father are tested when she lands on a world where her double was a famous astronaut, and her father is responsible for covering up her death.
Ooh.
So,
Wow.
now we got Chris's synopsis.
Chris, published author.
Mine's a little longer, and I wrote it on my phone, so I'm going to be looking down at my phone the whole time. So everybody
He's a pro.
who's out there in YouTube land, forgive me for not making eye contact, but it's because it's here. All right, so we open on a bucolic scene of a quiet all-American house when all of a sudden a shot rings out. The cat screams. A pandemonium of flashing light ends with our hearty group of sliders bounding out of the house and onto the sidewalk, hysterical about how they've traumatized the poor cat who lives in the house, along with the innocent homeowner who was apparently taking a shower when they slid in. And honestly, how does this work? The portal usually opens up high and the sliders fall to the ground, but this time they're in a house? What if the wormhole opens like an inch from the floor on the second story? Can they roll out from under the vortex? Will they crush each other as they pile on? What happens if they're not entirely clear of the vortex when it closes? Did they get sliced in half as the dimensional gate shuts? We interrupt these serious questions with some of the most forced and unbelievable ribbing banter ever caught on film, because this is the final season of Sliders and the only original cast member is Remy. And when Cleavon Dirks is among the best actors on screen, you know something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. But I digress. The Sliders walk a block up to the center of town where they discover a monument to Maggie in the town square. Apparently on this world, Maggie Beckett is a famous astronaut who was part of a crew that died during the first manned mission to Mars. The world has very advanced technology as well, which the Sliders discover is due to an alliance with extraterrestrials. This place This is a place where the Roswell crash was never covered up.
Roswell.
Roswell. Even more surprising than all of this is that the entire slide gang is completely oblivious that they've slid into Hill Valley complete with Clock Tower. Anyway, since the Maggie of this world is super famous and also super dead, they decide to lay low until the slide to avoid any complications, except for a quick trip to a local museum dedicated to the life and death of Maggie Beckett, because what better way to lay low than to go to the one place where Maggie is sure to be recognized. At the museum, Maggie becomes incensed by the credit given to her father for Maggie's achievements on this world. We learn that our Maggie has mega daddy issues and resents her father for being stern and unloving. She only joined the military and, I think, went into astronaut training on her own world to get his attention. This is what the show made it sound like. I'm not really up on Maggie's backstory. She storms out of the museum in a huff, and Mallory goes to console her. They're in the hotel room when armed soldiers burst in and kidnap the pair. Maggie and Mallory are taken to an undisclosed location where they meet the leader, a human-alien hybrid who is intent on exposing the truth about what really happened to Maggie Beckett and the rest of the crew of the ill-fated Mars mission. His plan is to kill our Maggie and use her body to expose the hoax, but not so fast, leader. While all this is going on, a military team corners Remy and Diana and somehow uses them to find Maggie and Mallory and rescue them, but the commander is none other than this world's double of Maggie's dad. What follows is some of the most tortured television ever, where Maggie vents her spleen at a guy who really isn't her father, while fake dad defends his actions to a woman who looks like his daughter but is a complete stranger. It's just awkward and weird and completely fails to land, but that's besides the point, because Maggie gets through to her fake dad and he holds a press conference to tell the world what happened to the real Maggie Beckett and the Mars crew. They died en route back to Earth due to faulty radiation shielding, which NASA or whatever agency in this world is covering up because they couldn't have a failure for these heroes. But now that the secret is out, the leader has nothing to expose any longer, so his plans are failed. Maggie experiences closure with her fake dad, and they all slide. The end. I think I got it all.
Sliders.
Great job,
Deeply
Chris.
cynical take.
Yeah.
It's gentle ribbing. It's gentle ribbing. Like, one thing I'll say about this, they really went in for, you know what? It's been a very long time since I've seen a lot of sliders. The last episode I watched was with for you, Damon and Mike, for when we did the Cro-Mag episode.
Invasion.
I think. Yeah. And it was the first time I'd seen sliders in years. I think this might be the first time I've seen the Sci-Fi version without any of the O'Connell brothers. I don't think I've seen any of these episodes. So I was really surprised that sort of the lighter, more bantering tone they gave the show in this season. And had there been a set of actors with any kind of chemistry, I think it would have been fun. But yeah, we can talk about that. So but I digress. I've been filibustering with my my synopsis. So let's get on with the discussion. Damon, we're in your hands.
All right. I'll get into the stars. Clement Derricks as Rembrandt Crying Man Brown. Is it Carrie? Where I never say how is it?
I always said Kari. I always said Kari.
Kari Wurr as Maggie Beckett. Robert Floyd as Mallory, not really Quinn, Mallory, and Tembi Locke is Tembi Locke, right? Tembi Locke as
Yes.
Diana Davis. Yeah.
I
And you
didn't
had a
remember her at all.
Yeah. Well,
No,
they're in the
me neither.
it's just the last the last season, Mallory and Diana.
Pretty gorgeous, though. So
Yeah.
I might have to look into it.
What's your notes, Stacie? You had something on Tembi Locke.
She is in Eureka. She plays Grace in 24
Ah.
episodes of Eureka.
Oh.
I love Eureka. Yeah, maybe that's
Yeah.
what I recognize her.
All right, Mike.
And yeah, I didn't remember her from this either. I mean, like, I
Mhm.
remember there's a fourth person. I don't remember who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw her and I went, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good casting, though.
All right, Mike. Guest stars.
Okay, guest stars. There weren't many, but I have some things to say. So, Winston Reckert, who played General Thomas Beckett, is none other than the Neon Rider himself. Now, probably only Canadians will get that reference. but
Uh-huh.
he co-created the series Neon Rider and was the main star of the show, which ran for 64 episodes on 5 seasons from 1990 to 1995. And not that I was a consistent watcher of it, but I definitely remember seeing episodes of it, and he was so familiar to me, and I had to look it up because in that show he had long flowing locks, and in this episode he had a very strict military buzz cut. So
Uh-huh.
it was kind of cool seeing him back
What
in
was that
action.
show about? I'm picturing like a neon version of Knight Rider.
No, it was about he was a writer slash therapist named Michael
Ah,
Carey, and he started he went to visit his ranch to get away and decided, I don't know how this happened, to start using his ranch as a place for troubled teens to kind of rehabilitate their lives. So
yeah,
and it went for 5 seasons, so it must have been pretty good.
Yeah.
nice.
In Sci-Fi Connections, he also appeared in 2 episodes of Battlestar Galactica and Stargate SG-1. And he was also the voice of Mungo Boabab in the 1985 animated Star Wars Droids series, which
Okay.
I loved that show as a kid. Didn't know he was all over the sci-fi. But our next guest is Rob LaBelle, who was Mr. Zybo, the museum curator, and as we later learn, also the engineer behind the radiation shielding on the failed capsule.
Uh-huh.
He has a quantum leap connection. He was Tony Besh in the episode Temptation Eyes.
Ah,
I thought he looked familiar. I was like, wait, and then I
Yeah,
realized Quantum Leap, that was it.
yeah. And his other sci-fi connections include episodes of the recent Lost in Space reboot. He was on Stargate Atlantis, 3 episodes of Star Trek Voyager, and he was in all 64 episodes of First Wave as Crazy Eddie. I never saw the show, but I remember it being on.
His prices are insane.
That is a uniquely, I think, Northeastern
Yeah,
reference. So if you're not from the New York
Jerry
tri-state
Carroll
area,
reference.
yeah.
I'm pulling them out tonight.
Wow. I still have a Crazy Eddie T-shirt somewhere.
Nice. If it's triple X, send it this way.
Insane.
I think there's a crazy on every coast because there's a crazy Gideon in LA. So someone has to assume the mantle, no matter what region you're in.
That's awesome.
So Rob LaBelle also, outside of Sci-Fi, had recurring role as a character called Phil Rosen on Da Vinci's Inquest and the sequel series Da Vinci's City Hall. And again, those are more Canadian shows. And Stacie, you added he was in 3 episodes of the 4400 and 2 episodes of Eureka.
Ooh.
So little reunion of the Tembi
sci-fi.
Lock there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Next, we have Steve O'Connor, who was the leader. He was in 1 episode of 7 Days, and outside of Sci-Fi, also 1 episode of 24 and 2 episodes of Jag. Otherwise, not much I recognized. And then we had Carl Gabriel York as technician, and I don't, I didn't know who that was, but
He was there somewhere.
somewhere. He must have had a line, but he
He's hanging out with
previously
the
appeared in
Cro-Mag
2
from The Young and
episodes
the
of season
Relentless.
4. Sorry, Matt?
He's hanging out with the Cro-Mag from The Young and the Relentless.
Oh, okay.
Another one of those characters that showed up that they filmed and then they never showed up on screen.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's my guess.
Oh,
And
okay.
then Stacie, you had a note here about that particular.
He was in Apollo 13, which is about space.
Hey,
Why are we here?
And speaking of space,
Chris, tell him why we're here.
we are trying to send Albie's daughter Serenity to space camp. I mean, the kid's named after a spaceship. Who is better deserving to go to space camp. We are trying to raise the funds for the tuition, and not only that, for all of the incidental expenses that will be incurred on such a fantastic trip. They have to go from Fla to Huntsville, Alabama. They got to sleep, they got to eat, they got to find a roof for over their heads. It's all the stuff that goes along with an adventure like Serenity is embarking upon. So you can help by going to patreon.com/Serenity Space Camp. Did I get that right, Stacie? Nope.
No.
Now I know how Albie feels all the time. It's it's not Patreon, it's GoFundMe.com/Serenity Space Camp.
Yes.
I'm just used to shilling for Treksploration. So, so GoFundMe.com. You don't have to listen to me. You can just scan the QR code that you'll find on the screen and just give whatever you can. $5, $10, $1,000, $7,000.
$7,000.
$7,000. You'll be the king of space camp. Any and every little bit helps so that we can help a young girl achieve her dreams, and all of us space nerds who know her get to live vicariously through her. So that's the more important thing. Do it for you. Don't do it for her. Do it for you and for us. GoFundMe.com/Serenity Space Camp.
Yay. Thank you.
Did you want to share anything, Matt, about space camp?
Oh, well, for the uninitiated, I did go to space camp when I was around
Oh, so
Serenity's
cool.
age.
I knew there was something about you, man.
Right? NASA look in space. Did you have thermal curtain failure?
I mean, I do. I have. I've got the Apollo lander up here, and I've got the space shuttle Discovery up above. You can't see it, but
Oh, wow.
cool.
I Legoed
Very
the
cool.
crap out of this room. No, when I was I'm curious. So you live in Florida, and you're going to the Huntsville one?
Yeah, because
Okay.
her school, which is Sora School,
Mhm.
they're doing like a specific science space class, and that whole class is going together to go to space camp together. So
That's awesome.
they're really excited to be with their online friends.
Nice. Yeah. So like, I went to the one that was at Cape Kennedy. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, we
35
visit
years
there
ago. I don't know
often.
I don't know if the space camp in Florida even still exists, but that's the one that I
I
went to.
haven't heard of one.
Yeah, it was. Well, when I went, it was it seemed to kind of fly by night. We were staying in a motel, so it was, but it was pretty awesome. The things that we got to do. I was too young to do stuff like where they put the suit on you and you go into the pool and you kind of maneuver around in that kind of zero G kind of simulation. But we did do a couple different shuttle launch simulations where one group was on the space shuttle and then the other group was mission control, and so you had a script and you had to figure out how to launch people and then bring them back to space or back from space safely.
Wow.
And yeah, and we did like some some of those model rocket launches and some other stuff like that. But it was definitely a cool experience. And I still have my jumpsuit from when I was 13.
Oh, cool.
my NASA jumpsuit. I'm very official. I just need to find it, give it to my kid, let him wear it.
Wow.
Nice.
So cool.
Yeah, this is the perfect age to go.
Right? 13. I mean, that's the year I think you fall in love with everything for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully she makes it back from space. That's up to Kate Capshaw, I guess. We'll see. Tom Skerritt.
Were they the ones from the
All
Space Camp movie?
So you were the Joaquin Phoenix, right? Because you were too young to do a couple of the things.
I'll take Joaquin Phoenix. I'll take that. God, it's been so long since I've seen that. I heard that you actually you did a recap of that a couple times, right?
Yeah, we did 2 reviews of it.
Ooh.
Wow.
Two of them.
The movie's so
Yeah,
nice you saw it twice.
For those out
Yep.
there, after you watch this, you can go and search and you can find us review Space Camp and then Space Camp After Dark.
After
Wow.
Dark.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm going to leave that right there. You have to go find
There
out
you
what we're
go.
talking
That was
about
a fun one with Scott Madison.
from that Star Trek podcast.
Yeah, and they're releasing their show too to
Yeah.
support this, which is great. Everybody's
That's
helping.
awesome. Great community.
All right. This was written by Chris Black, directed by Peter Ellis, and as Matt designates on his website on earthprime.com, it is UFO World. So,
Oh, is that
all
what
right.
they call this one? Okay, that's cool.
Well, that's
so
what I
cool
call it.
because they didn't cover up Roswell in this one. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Matt, so Matt, can you give your bona fides for people like me who don't know your background with Space Camp or Sliders?
Sure. I mean, aside from the whole space camp thing, which is impressive in its own right.
Yes.
Yes, yes, it
I've-
is.
I've been running on, for the better part of 30 years, this website Earth Prime. It's a Sliders resource website. Through that, me and my writing partner have, we've written reviews for each one, but we've also met writers, producers from the show, actors. And, so we, obviously we're providing just information about each episode, but we're also providing some context. So I'm working on a new version of the website that I haven't had a chance to update in the past 10 years, but we're adding a bunch of different scripts, a bunch of other information. One of the things that's nice is that I have a fairly thorough collection of scripts from every episode, including scripts or outlines that are very different from the finished product. So we analyze the evolution of the story, but we also have, deleted things. I've come across scripts that were never produced. So if you're looking for a fairly robust collection, I think there's like a Sliders website in Germany and there's one in Poland, but I think mine is the biggest English speaking Sliders
Yeah.
website.
I've been there
that's
many times over
awesome.
the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, I told him.
Yeah,
Let's get bigger.
Very
I told
cool.
him he's
yeah.
basically the Brian Green of
the Brian Green.
Sliders.
That's what I was
Right.
going to say. You're the Matt Dale / Brian Green of Sliders.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's cool. Thank you for coming on and doing this with all of us for Serenity.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, like Damon said, he was asking me what episode I would recommend about this. And he had thought about maybe revisiting Last Days, the first season episode with the asteroid. And then when I pitched to him that there was an actual episode where one of the main characters was an astronaut, he's like, oh, maybe that'll work too.
Yeah.
So we jumped on that, and always happy to help see another kid realize their dream of going to fake space.
Awesome.
All right, so we'll just get into everybody's first impressions, and then we'll kind of go through the plot quick, I guess, because whoever wants to.
My first impression of this episode was I remember, like, I saw season 5 as it aired and never again. I think I own them on DVD. I have the complete set. I don't know if it was one of the wormhole sets, but if it was, then I have it. But I remembered it being bad and not liking it. And I think I was butthurt a lot because none of the original actors except Cleavon Derricks was on it. But watching it again, my first impression was they cut their stunt doubles. I was like, who are these people? But then after that, watching the episode, I actually got into it, and of course I remember Kari Ware. Everybody had a crush on her back then. And, I like Remy. But I really enjoyed the story, and I was highly impressed that I enjoyed it so much because my memory of season 5 is like so jaded. But like the dad and daughter stuff, even though they weren't really dad and daughter, they got to work through their dad and daughter stuff together. That got me, and I got verklempt a few times, and I was surprised. Yeah, there was some cheesy stuff, and they were, in the Hill Valley. But overall, I really enjoyed the episode, which surprised me. So I'm excited to get there again because I'm following along with you, Mike, and Damon.
Oh,
So, yeah, overall, I enjoyed it.
oh, okay. Who next?
Well, I mean, I'll go briefly. I mean, I kind of said a lot of what I thought in the synopsis.
Yeah.
Cynical. I go for the gags a lot, but I can say I don't think I've ever seen any of these episodes from the Sci-Fi era of without a O'Connell in the mix. This is where I fell off the show. I don't know if it was intentionally or unintentionally. It completely escaped my radar at that point. So it was fun to see this iteration of the show because it really was brand new to me. There were certain neat things about this episode that I liked that I'm sure we're going to discuss. But overall, I feel like, I remember why I fell off Sliders upon watching this with just some of the acting is who plays Diana?
Tempe
Lock.
She is wasted on the show. She was fantastic. Other than that, you have varying degrees of I guess they're approaching pretty good. But yeah, there was plenty to discuss, and it was fun. There was a lot of fun. I thought the makeup effects were really good. The leader was a fun character,
Yeah.
and the guy from Temptation Eyes. I'm sorry, the actor's name. He's one of those guys,
Rob LaBelle.
Yeah, Rob LaBelle. You've seen him, so you say, "Oh, it's him," and he's always fun to watch. So.
If you're ever so inclined to dip back into some of these episodes, there are a handful that focus on Diana Davis on Temmie's character, and she crushes it.
I bet.
I would say
I
that
bet.
they almost focus too much on her and Kari in season 5 at the expense of Clevant. Like Clevant has no standalone episode by himself, but the two women get multiple episodes featuring them. So it's, if you're looking for more Temmie's acting, it's there, especially the second episode, Applied Physics. That's another Chris Black episode. That's probably the strongest one from season 2.
She was
5.
great. Her and Kari both
Yeah,
were great in the
and
episode.
just one. Thank you for reminding me, Matt. The fact that Chris Black wrote this, I immediately, my Enterprise antenna went up,
Yeah.
and I was just like, Chris Black, awesome. So
Yeah.
I had no idea that he had written on Sliders.
Oh yeah, he wrote for season 4 and 5. I ran into him a couple weeks ago actually, so I gushed
nice.
to him about some of these scripts.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, yes, what do you think, Matt? Yeah, you go
So
next.
So this is one of my favorites. I would say that of the 18 episodes from season 5, there's like 3 excellent ones, in my opinion, and this is one of them. In case you're at home and you want to see what the other two are, the other two that I recommend highly are Applied Physics, that's season 5, episode 2, and A Current Affair, that's season 5, episode 7. That's a lot more comedic, if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. But I would say that this is probably one of my favorites, and it's so unfortunate that it's sandwiched between so many terrible episodes of the season, that like you get all these good feelings about this episode, and then what comes next is Mallory as a biker, and then there's the Wade episode, and you're just like, what is going on? There's like such a tonal dissonance between really great episodes like this and then just absolute dreck, So it's but it's one of the things. So I hadn't watched this episode probably in probably a decade, and so I went back and I watched it last night just to kind of see how my feelings were. And a lot of what Chris was saying, like some of the snark and some of the good ribbing at it, I was feeling that too last night. But then I was thinking about how myself would have seen this in 1999, and I just remember being so enthusiastic about an episode that had good production values, good cinematography. And yes, Hill Valley, and that's not the first time. They went the entire 4th season without shooting on that part of the backlot, and then for season 5 they ended up using it like in 4 different episodes. So they went from 0 to 60 really quickly. But I appreciated. I'm someone that also looks like the costuming and the hair and like all the set deck and all that stuff, and there's some care and some attention to detail that went into this one that wasn't happening in a lot of the episodes, and so I give credit for that. But then I also just give credit for the strong writing. And yes, I will agree that the conversations between Maggie and her dad are very belabored. It's like a lot of this stuff could have really been tightened up, or they could have made the episode more about that instead of getting to it in the 3rd act. But overall, like a real emotional episode where there's character built. It's a character-driven piece. One that Maggie desperately needed after getting resolution about her husband in previous season. And so I walked away from this one, at least as an original viewer, going, yeah, we need more like this. So I was happy to revisit it last night.
Okay. You want us to go last, Mike? We'll do Stacie next.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let our guests go first. Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the season 5 of it all, I didn't watch it live. I did, however, watch season 5 sometime within the last 10 years. I'm positive I watched season 5. Zero recollection of this episode at all. So I watched it. It felt like I'm watching a brand new episode of Sliders, which is cool. And it did something and made me want to go watch season 5, which I don't. That's probably a bad thing that it did that. But it made me want to go watch it and be like, I don't remember this. And, it's kind of like I get to watch more, and that'll be cool, right? Maybe.
I was intrigued enough where I watched 2 other episodes after this one, just to see
Really?
how season
But as
5,
far as
just to see the dynamic.
Which one?
As far as the story itself, I feel like there's potential here. There was something to this, but I just got lost in the whole, we're going to kidnap each other back and forth, and you're on this side, you're on that side, I'm helping you, no, I'm helping you. The twist, it was too much for me. That's all we did was just go back and forth between sides and break windows. And I feel like there could have been something great here, but somewhere in the middle, it lost me, and I understand why I forgot the episode.
Which ones did you watch, Chris?
I watched the I think it was the finale, the series finale. It was supposed to be the season finale, obviously, because it ended on a cliffhanger.
Is that the squeaky gate thing?
No, because that one still had
So-
Quinn in it. I remember that
Oh,
one.
that's right.
Yeah.
No, this is the one where they go to a world where the Sliders are known
Right.
through
the
some
TV show.
clairvoyant guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured a way to beat the Cro-Mags, and they can actually pinpoint how to get back to their own worlds.
Mm.
But the clairvoyant guy says, "Hey, everybody's going to die if you slide away from here. I've seen it." And things happen.
So he's Doctor
Um,
Strange.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we did that, and I watched a little bit of the one where they had Wade was supposed to be coming back, and Remy is having
Oh.
visions.
No.
Oh, you poor man.
No.
Well, no, you'll be happy. You'll be happy to know
Oh.
that at this point it was like almost midnight, and I fell asleep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, good.
That one sets new
Good.
records for how bad the show can get.
Well, I was because I was thinking her name is Sabrina Lloyd, right?
Yes.
Is Wade?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
I'm waiting to see Wade, but they didn't really bring Sabrina back. That I
No,
saw.
It was her voice because
Ah.
Clavant Derricks begged her to do it, and so she did it as a favor to him.
Yeah.
But she was working on Sports Night at that point, and she just had zero interest in coming back and doing this. Considering what they did to her character, it's understandable.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still struggling with that.
Mhm.
How many years later? Did Matt? Did you guys cover anything with that new sliders panel they did? The three of them.
I haven't covered it. I haven't even watched it, honestly.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
They're-
I'm all of my Sliders energy at the moment is supporting you guys and working on a new version of the website. Like I
Awesome.
can't just sit there and look at a YouTube video for 45 minutes unless it's like Red Letter
Yeah.
Media or something. I just
Yeah.
I don't have the
It was
ability to-
interesting. It's worth a watch. They were saying Sabrina was interested in coming, but she couldn't because of scheduling, and she was in England or something like that. But they're all trying to to do something with it eventually. I would watch that if they
Yeah.
brought Sabrina back and it was the original four.
Yeah, I do have some details that I can't go into about a potential reboot, but suffice to say it didn't happen, and I don't think it's going to happen. So
Yeah, the numbers on the what is it, the petition don't look great.
yeah, I mean, look, it was a niche cult classic from 30 years ago, and I think it's just one of those things where so now that you've seen Chris, now that you've seen the Wade resolution, you've seen the series finale, and you've seen this episode, I mean, how do you reboot this series? How do you continue it? And the answer is you can't. You basically,
Well,
if you're lucky, you start from scratch with the same actors, just in different versions of their doubles. But it's
Well, yeah,
you-
that would be it. Like, I think the only through line you could have is Remy figuring out if he goes back to our Earth. I suppose that's where he's headed at the end of that episode. I mean,
Yeah.
spoilers, by the way. But I'm just again, one thing that Sliders always suffered from with me, because the reason it really drew me in was because it was just like Quantum. You get a different adventure every week, and instead of traveling through time, you're in a different world. Even their Saga Cell says, okay, it's like Quantum Leap, but it's not traveling in time; it's traveling dimensions. Same time, different world.
Yeah.
Dr. Beckett. So it was always an intriguing premise because you have that anthology feel built into it. You had that, ooh, what's the next thing? The only thing they didn't do was the slide in as the tease, like the leap out and the leap in were the tease on Quantum. But
tried
I
to.
always felt that Sliders, I know they probably wanted to, but Fox always aired everything out of order, right?
Yeah. So that's why
Yeah.
Summer of Love and Prince of Wales and the pilot, they were all supposed to go in order, and then once they were aired so far out of order, they just kind of gave up.
Gotcha. But with Sliders, like with Quantum Leap, it was always a human-centered drama about characters and people, where to me, Sliders always suffered from, okay, this is the premise and the gimmick. How do we how do we enact that? Like, okay, how do we fill in that box? How do we color that world? So the characters were always somewhat different from episode to episode, depending on the world. And it was more driven about the what if instead of the people driving the story. The story drove the people didn't drive the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I failed to connect, even though I stuck with it until like I enjoyed the season where they introduced Charlie and the Mallory brothers were there, and you find out that Quinn's adopted, the whole thing. That I was reminded of that. But I always, again, I just never felt like I connected with it the way I connected with Quantum.
Yeah.
Hey folks, Sam from Fate's Wide Wheel here. I wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about my friend Albie from the Quantum Leap podcast and the Treksploration podcast. He is currently in the process of sending his daughter Serenity to space camp, and there's a GoFundMe that is currently live in order to help do that. And we certainly want to send her to space camp, so please hit those links below. Make a donation, match my donation, exceed my donation. It's not that big, but it's what I could do. And let's send Albie's daughter Serenity to space camp. And in honor of that, I am going to be doing a special retro unboxing on the channel very, very soon for the complete adventure Star Trek The Motion Picture, the director's edition. This 4K box set came out a few years ago, so this is a retro unboxing. Of course, it's out there, it's available, but hear what I think about this box and the 4K version of Star Trek The Motion Picture. So again, hit those links. Say hi to Albie over at Treksploration podcast, and let's send Serenity to space camp.
Okay, where are we? We didn't even get to our first impressions, Mike. I think we got to go through the plot like quick. I know you had a lot of notes, but like
Yeah, that's fine. We can save the notes for
yeah, because we're gonna revisit this anyway later.
for like 5 years from now when we get around to this episode.
Cool. All right, I'll go next. I'll just say that this is one of the few episodes that I hadn't seen. So I was watching it. I was like, I felt like it actually wasn't that bad. It was disconcerting to see like pretty much most of the original 4 cast members gone. But I had always gotten used to Kari being on the cast after a while, so at least there was that. But I think Stacie brought it up. It was like kind of hard to keep track of like who was good, who was bad. Like that was a little confusing to me, but I did think it was pretty interesting character development with Maggie. So it is, and you can go.
Yeah, it's okay. The premise is certainly interesting, especially the whole idea of the cover up, and we get a really decent description in this episode for the Divergent in history, which at one point Sliders just forgot about and just said, "Here's whatever world because reasons." But it was that the possession of Maggie, the fighting over her between the leader and her father. I couldn't. Yeah, like I guess Stacie said this as well. I found that part hard to follow. But there was only an A plot here. It was a single focus plot, and they seemed like they had too much story to fit into the 45 minutes, or they just didn't parcel it out in consumable chunks, maybe. And I don't know if it's just because it's the first season 5 episode I've watched in 25 years, but I found the acting of the 3 newbies, and maybe Tembi Locke, her acting will shine in other episodes. I just found it a bit to be desired over the original cast. And again,
So
we're
since you
jumping
guys, oh sorry,
from season 3 to season 5. It's
yeah, I was just gonna ask, like,
might
are
have
you
to
getting
ease
are you
into
getting
season
whiplash?
5 after season 4.
What was that, Matt? Sorry.
Did you feel like you got whiplash by watching this episode after watching? I don't know where you are in season 3 at this point. I think you're somewhere probably around Prince of Slides, but
Yes.
We're at the Christmas episode, basically. Season 3.
okay,
Yeah.
And
so
season's readings, yeah.
yeah, so you're right before things get really funky, and the quality is still kind of there. So I'm just curious to think, because I remember when I first watched Easy Slider, which is the episode that comes directly after the Return of Maggie Beckett. I'm like, what would someone who's coming from watching a first season episode, what would they even think that how are these even the same show,
Isn't it funny, Matt, that you say that? Because to me, like, the Motorcycle Gang episode is a staple of 70s anthology shows like The Incredible Hulk or Knight Rider. And so even Quantum Leap did Rebel Without a Clue.
Yeah.
So you would figure that if they're going to do a Biker Gang episode, it would be season 1. The show degenerated to the Biker Gang episode, which is that's like, huh?
Was there a rodeo episode?
A rodeo?
There were 2 different cowboy episodes.
Okay.
Mm.
Did Scott Bakula take his shirt off in either of them?
I'm honestly surprised you Quantum Leap heads haven't noted the biggest connection between the 2 shows, and that is that Thomas Beckett is Maggie's father.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, I wanted to talk about that
Yeah,
because now that we have experts, I was saying, was that intentional? Was that just like a wink to leapers? What was that?
I would like to think that it was that I want to give them credit, particularly Chris Black. He seems like he's a genre fan. I don't know if they could out and out say that it links the 2 shows together, but at the time, the show was looking to make comic books that were crossing over between the two series. So it would not be unheard of if they had that kind of chambered, especially after they added Maggie and that they had the complicated relationship with her father. That was established in the third season. So it certainly wouldn't be unheard of. His name wasn't identified until this episode, though. So they probably had some go back and forth about it.
Well, the guy that they got to play Thomas in this did not look like David Newsom in any way.
No, you did not.
The question I have, I know that we kind of discussed the comics, Mike and Damon, the last time Albie and I guested on your show. Did the Sliders comics come out from Innovation as well? Or were they Innovation comics?
They were Acclaim.
Acclaim, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how they would have done the cross. Like IDW does a lot of stuff like that too, so...
At the time in the mid '90s, Acclaim had the licenses, and if you look at Earth Prime, there are actually 3 or 4 different pitches for Quantum Leap crossover, and they're all documented there. Some of them have to do with like some people are sliding and some people are leaping, and so certain members of the team get swapped or they get sent back in time. It's all, it's none of it's very. Yeah. It all is kind of a gobbledygook, but
it sounds like it could be like Gonzo Fun, actually.
Yeah.
It was Acclaim was going to do the new Quantum Leap comics, but then it was like right around, like they were even like solicited. Like you can find them on Brian's site. Like I actually gave him the stuff that had them in like the preview publications, and they were going to do a whole series, and then I think that company went defunct or something, so they didn't get to publish them. So I remember looking forward to them. Like, damn it.
But on the space theme, I found it really interesting that Maggie mentioned when she was in the military on her world, a mission to Mars was about 20 years away, which would be about, 2015, depending on when she's talking about when that was. But here on our current Earth, in this timeline, the upcoming Artemis mission, part of that is supposed to be exploring how to get humans to visit Mars. So I was just thinking if that does eventually happen in our reality, hopefully their return will be much more successful than the Maggie Beckett's mission on this world with the failed radiation.
I think the first step to success is not having a character actor design your shielding.
Yeah.
You should be okay.
Bring enough oxygen.
Bring enough oxygen. Yes, Space Camp teaches us anything.
Extra potatoes.
Bring a little kid in case you have to fit into some scaffolding.
Yeah. I think one of those things is like, humans on Mars is always 20 years away. Like so many things, like fusion is always 5 years away.
Yeah, that's true.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, it seems like everything that Michio Kaku, when he talks about stuff, it's always, in 20 years we'll have this, or it's just like it's like a magic number. It's like when a flight's delayed, they say, it's 20 minutes because that's like the threshold of when people will be tolerant of. Yeah, it's just always such an arbitrary thing.
Maybe it's just far enough away to make it sound aspirational, but not too far that it would possibly happen.
Right, that it's hopeless.
Lifetime.
Yeah, hopeless. Just keep people waiting on the edge of their seat for 20 years. When I was watching this, I was bumped by one thing, and it was like that's attempted kidnap scene at the end, and everyone had guns pointed at everyone else, and then they're like, "Oh, look, something on TV," and they all just kind of put their guns down and walked over and looked at the TV.
They break the storefront window to listen to it.
Yeah, she takes the garbage can and bashes it. Yeah. I think that was the third
apparently
window
this
broken
is
in this episode.
Yeah, what did they called this? They called this UFO world. I think it was smash a window to get somebody's attention world. I mean, they're in a hotel just hanging out, and someone throws a brick through the window, not because they're angry. I thought, there's a mob out there because no, they're just fans. They just, hey, Maggie, we love you. Let me throw a brick through. Oh, did it hit you in the head? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, don't step on the broken glass.
Throw a brick through the window.
And then she eats the chicken from the bucket she's holding a foot away from where the broken window came in.
Yeah. Hey, she's tough as nails.
I'm sorry, but that chicken is covered in glass now. Do not eat it.
But it's stage glass, so it's either sugar or rubber, so it's fine.
Right. I felt like that was a recurring joke, because as soon as they put in the new glass, then you've got the secret agent that bursts through the window again. I feel like there was like a missing comment there, like, come on, I just put this in or something.
Yeah.
I think for me, like when I was watching it last night, kind of with fresh eyes, I was trying to establish how old Maggie is and how she could have accomplished as much as she did. Because if say she's in her late 20s and she's, and she's already been dead, her double's already been dead for 2 years and she's already been to Mars and back. So that's another 4-year journey, right? So she was like 21 when she was tapped to be an astronaut, which seems highly unlikely. Now, I know they don't actually give her age. I think she's somewhere around 25 or 26 in the show, like around season 3 or 4, but even like her whole career doesn't really add up. And I know that's like super nitpicky of me, but when you are dealing with someone that went on a manned mission to Mars and commanded it, you would expect that person to be probably in their early 30s at their youngest.
We've tried to navigate the history of Al Calavici. This is nothing. Don't you worry
I
about
was
it.
going to say, maybe she's not related to Sam. She must be related to Al.
Right. I'm sorry, I keep bringing it back to quantum.
No. Like, wasn't Project Starbright or whatever the big one in early on, where like that's where Sam and him met, and that would have to have happened way
Mid-80s.
before. Yeah, like the timeline is funky there too.
Yeah.
Al's just done everything in the world in his lifetime.
Yeah, I know there are
Most
theories about
accomplished
that.
human being in history.
Yeah.
Well, he was an astronaut too, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Was he really?
Yep.
Wow.
Supposedly was, yeah.
He supposedly circumnavigated the moon. So they made allusions to like Apollo 8, but at the time he was also a POW.
That's right.
So again, the
And it
timelines
was
don't
Christmas
really
Eve.
match up. Yeah,
So maybe he was out of the POW camp for good behavior.
It was his sliding double. That's the answer.
it was his sliding double. Yes,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
Were you
That's
able to,
how we rectify it.
like timeline wise, you were able to match up when he was captured in Vietnam to when the Apollo
They
missions
changed
were going
it a
off?
couple times.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
they
hilarious.
changed it a couple of times. With they even Liz Storm even wrote an entire book about when he gets repatriated because it's 2 different dates in the show,
Right.
and the only mission that circumnavigated the moon was Apollo 8, where they read from the Book of Genesis on Christmas. So, and Al says we read from whatever, and so the implication is that he was part of the Apollo program, but it doesn't match up with his Vietnam history. They're concurrent. So when I was doing my book, I put him on the space shuttle because it just makes a little more sense for him to be repatriated, because he said he's in Disco Inferno and he's just like, I had Vietnam behind me, I had this space program in front of me. And this was in the 70s when he loved, disco dancing and putting on weird clothes. So
He hated disco.
Yeah.
He never stopped putting on weird clothes.
right.
Me neither. True. Yeah.
So Maggie, can we get back to the
Yeah,
show?
yeah, that's
Yes,
why we got
Maggie
into Quantum
Beckett,
Leap.
she's
It's all
pretty.
Matt's fault. Okay, it's not me at all.
I like being taught stuff about a show. I usually people are
You know
asking
what
me
I
the
found
questions.
interesting about astronaut Maggie Beckett is she says the only reason she didn't become an astronaut is because the war started, right? Because
Yes.
she came from like War Planet.
Yes.
But we've met her double 20 times and none of them were astronauts.
I honestly don't
So-
remember. So
Yeah, just because you feel something or think something and blame something on something doesn't mean that's the thing.
Right.
True.
But she was like, I was on the list and I was about to go, and then the war happened, and that's the only reason I didn't become an astronaut.
Yeah, my CDs were in his car, so I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Trying to remember how many Maggie doubles we saw. There was one in the Exodus where she's basically the same version of her. Then there's like the stripper version in Alternateville Horror.
Yeah.
There is the
There had to be an episode where they played up Kari Wurr's late night cable sex appeal.
I need to watch that.
Yeah.
So-
Which one was that now?
that
Can I
one's-
be on that
one's
one, Damon
Slither.
and Mike?
Maybe that one's Slither or the Breeder.
Thank you.
Oh,
I think every third season episode with Kari Wurr has her sexed up. So buckle
Yeah.
up.
I was definitely
yeah.
infatuated with her back
Yeah.
then. What was she on? Remote Control? Before
Yes.
that? Was that it?
MTV's
and
remote control.
90210.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I watched every episode for the same reason I watched every episode of season 5 of Sliders.
So Maggie's backstory is she comes from a war planet. I forgot that, and I was curious to know what Tembi, what Diana's, how'd she join the gang?
So
She's the new
Diana,
scientist.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
she and
She's a smart
Mallory.
person now. They needed a scientist because we lost all of ours. So
Right,
she's
right.
there for that. Wasn't she working with the villain of the season.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she
And
she
then
was the
left
she
to
was the
be the good
assistant
guy.
for the seasonal big bad, and then she joined up with the Sliders because she felt betrayed.
Mhm.
Was that Roger
But he
Daltrey?
was-
Was she like Roger Daltrey's sidekick?
Roger Daltrey was Maggie's commander.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
No,
Okay.
Peter Jurassic from Babylon 5
Oh.
was her boss.
Oh, I love
on season
him.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Babylon 5.
Dr. Geiger. Yeah, that was
So
it.
Yes.
at this point in time, is Quinn in Mallory?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's just Jerry O'Connell's stand-in, and they said, I guess you got the part.
Because I don't remember like the whole thing, but like they're merged, right? They're
Yeah.
the same
Yes.
person
That's why I
right
said
now
he's-
is the idea.
He's
But
Quinn
how
and he's not
come-
Quinn.
How come Quinn doesn't like bleed through at all if
So
he's in there?
do you want
Because it's very, very hard to act as well as Jerry O'Connell.
But
Yes.
Mallory is stupid. He doesn't know anything. There's
That's-
none of Quinn coming
That's
through
true.
at all.
Yeah.
But he was tall.
the,
He had good hair,
producers
same height.
the producers really didn't know what they were doing. They had a bunch of different plans at the beginning of the season, and they just kind of dropped them all. And
So
then
did they
tried.
forget by this point that
Yes,
Quinn's supposed to be there?
yes. Then there's
Basically.
one episode towards the end of the series where they bring it all back and they make it sound like all the things that they said where Quinn is gone, suddenly he's back and they can try and separate him again, except they can't. So, whatever.
Yeah, I
Did
remember
they just do that so they could maybe bring the O'Connells back if things worked out?
Your guess is as good as mine. There
think
was
they
no
were
way
trying
that
to.
there was no way that they were coming back, but they tried to make
Yeah.
it. They tried to. I don't know what they tried. It was.
And was it
such a
supposed to be
cluster.
both Jerry and Charlie and that poor bastard? Were they
No.
like all three of them?
No, Charlie. No,
No, he's Quinn's double,
yeah, he's like a fraternal double.
right?
Charlie got
Except
blown
he's a
up.
different actor, even though the
Yeah.
100 other doubles we met were the same
I-
actor.
okay,
Right.
you know what? I really,
Yeah.
this will turn into I can't. I'm so intrigued of how this happened. What? But that's beside the point. Anyway, why are we here, Albie?
We are here to send Serenity to space camp. Go to GoFundMe.com/Serenity Space Camp
Camp.
and scan the code on your screen. And there's a clickable link below. And just go there and give all your money. You can't take it with you, but Serenity can go to space camp. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was kind of like a Tuvix situation where
Yeah,
they were
kind of,
merged
right?
Oh,
and can
yeah,
they be unmerged? And then are you killing Mallory if you unmerge them?
I don't
Or
know.
What
you
was
You'll have to
first,
watch.
Mallory
You have
or
to watch more and
Tuvix?
find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they got the Tuvix actor to be Mallory, that'd be cool. I'd watch that.
You know what
Every
they
role
should
that guy
have
is in
done
is
if
just
they
a-
wanted to be like, we're gonna recast a Quinn double? They should have brought back the girl.
Logan.
Oh, yeah. You got Logan.
Oh,
Right.
There's a
Zoe
lot of
McClellan.
there's a
Zoe
lot of things they
McClellan.
could
Because
have
we
done.
have an established person who has played his double that's not him.
Right.
Logan. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Logan.
If it was not Logan, but Logan's double. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, that would be, yeah. that would be-
yeah,
different
that's a great
female
idea,
thing.
Stacie.
That
there's a
still
lot
And then it
annoys
would
me.
make sense why we have a different actor playing the double. Because we've done that already.
Right.
Where were you 26 years ago?
It still annoys
She
me
was
that
in
they didn't bring her
elementary
back.
school.
Not quite, no.
It still annoys me that they didn't bring Logan back. That was a really cool idea.
I actually did track down what the follow-up episode would be like, and that description will come on the website soon.
Oh, nice.
Which a Logan follow up.
For Logan,
Yeah,
you mean.
there were
Nice.
when
Cool.
I met up with Paul Jackson, one of the writers for the second and third season, and he had talked very briefly about how they had a 3-episode arc in mind with her, but then Fox didn't like the actor who played Logan, so they didn't bring her back after the first episode. But yeah, like the idea
I
was
guess
that
that
she
explains why she's not in season 5.
No.
Mm.
I like
Fox is always
her.
messing stuff up. They're always foxing stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Fox is just like, we love the show, let's greenlight it. Oh, but change everything about it. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
and I know that's the classic Hollywood story. Like that's the comedy of it. But it's just like with Sliders, it never got a break from the network. No matter what
never
they
did.
did, the network was like, change it.
Right.
It's like, okay, we changed it. Well, change it again. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
Mhm.
It must have been so frustrating.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Mhm.
For all the problems Sliders had, it was the moments I think that stick out in my head. There were so many great moments that
Yeah.
made it worth it
Mhm.
to go through all the things that were kind of sketch or not quite up to par. Just those moments that really sucked you in. And I think this episode had one of those moments. Maggie at the end, astronaut Maggie
Mhm.
from this world, like
Oh, the recording.
leaving that message on the
Mhm.
TV there.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that really got me.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised that I was watching a season 5 episode of Sliders and I got all teary just from that space little monologue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff in those conversations between her and her dad. It just they went about it in a weird way where he kept insisting that she wasn't who she was,
Yes.
and then asked like, "Who are you?" And then she would explain, and then he would do it again.
Yeah.
I think there was like it kept circling back, and they could have easily done a situation where they didn't have the toothbrush. She just looks like her. They abduct her because of reasons, and then they go through the process of identifying that she is in fact a Maggie Beckett, and then this guy has to come to grips with it in a way that he didn't think he would ever have to. And then that gives her a little something to push against, like she's insisting that she is, because she's being very like cagey about how she, she keeps saying things that kind of strike a nerve with him, but she doesn't provide any context or any information for how she would know it. And he doesn't follow up by saying, how could you possibly know these things? So, if it was, they could have smoothed out the edges a little bit, like you said, taken away some of the gunplay, some of the weird back and forth kidnapping stuff, and just really focused on her being there with her dad. And then that would have given it a little bit more room at the end to breathe, because I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, they're there for like 18 hours, I think they say.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
so whatever, like he's giving a press conference at like 6 o'clock in the morning on like a weekday or whatever. And all I can think about is, if they had just given this, maybe they slide and then he gives the press conference, so she doesn't know. There were a couple different episodes of Sliders like that, where like the episode where men are being used for breeders and Quinn slides, and then you see that coda where the woman is holding up the picture of Quinn, like leaving you to wonder, did she father a child with him? They could have done stuff like that and just given
The
it a
one
little
where-
bit more space.
Or Otoro won the election or something.
Yes,
that one.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, there's precedent for that kind of thing, where the Sliders don't know the outcomes of their actions, but we as a viewer do. And I think that would have been more impactful, because the way it ends like it's so rushed. They leave and they go back to the back lot, and they're all then there's another weird confrontation with the van, and then they slide. And I feel like there could have been more. Now, that doesn't, don't get me wrong, like I thought what they had with the two actors was really strong, but it could have, I think, like with another rewrite or like another week or two of just like hammering out the story, it could have been stronger.
Well, one thing that kind of bumped me about that, and this is why I didn't buy any of that conversation between the two of them, because Maggie is treating this guy like he's her dad. He might have been the greatest, most supportive father in the world on that planet to her, as the museum indicated. Yet she's bringing all her baggage to him, and he's kind of like defending himself as if he really did that stuff on this world.
Yeah.
Why would it be necessarily the same dynamic between the two?
And that would have
I
been a
found
good idea.
that's like a lost sort of opportunity. Like you were saying, Mike, before, you thought that there was too much here. It was too packed in and too rushed. I think there wasn't enough. Once again, you talk about the multiple gunplay, the multiple kidnappings, the back and forth, the needless plot machinations to fill the time, because again, you have a concept that they like, but very little to flesh it out. And they just don't know how to use the characters to tell a compelling story. They just know to come up with a gimmick or an idea and then throw the characters in it and see what happens. So I think that conversation, especially between Maggie and the dad, was convoluted because they were just spinning their wheels trying to fill time.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
I
they
guess-
switch locations, because if they are all in the same room the whole time, then it just gets stale. So they have to move them to some new room that has no context. And then he explains why there's context, but then they move back to his office again. It's like, why, give it a little bit more action, do a Sorkin style walk and talk or something, just to give it a little bit more space or a little bit more room to breathe around them. One of the things that Sliders did really a lot in the fourth and the fifth season was they had these standing sets that looked very plain, and they always shot in the mid shot. So you're never really getting a sense of scale for some of these locations. And that was really on display. Like when you look at his office, like they don't pull back. It's always mid shot. You're always just kind of seeing the blank wall with the American flag and not much else. And they could have done a little bit more with those areas to kind of give an idea of like what this guy's up to, what he's been up to. Have some pictures of her with him in his office. Like she mentions one of them, but you don't really see them. And it'd be cool to have a bunch of them. And to your point, Chris, yeah, like he starts to recoil that like everything she's saying resonates with him when it shouldn't. And it would be cool to have like a counterpoint where he's saying, I don't like, there's even another episode of Sliders where someone is saying something like that. And someone says like, why this has never happened to me. Oh, it's the episode where Rembrandt has the baby. And he's explaining to the Duchess Danielle about like who he is and why he can sing and all that stuff. And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. This can't be real, but why do I feel like what you're saying is true? Why does this make me feel so much? And to have that kind of explanation with him and with Maggie, I think would have done a lot more service to her to help her move past her demons if she did, or maybe it would have given some conflict because on this world, she and her father did have a wholesome relationship, a healthy relationship. And now she's coming to grips with the fact that she was the outlier. And now she's got to kind of move past that. And she can use this guy as a sounding board to heal. So there were ways to go about it that I felt would have been more character driven. But I certainly, in comparison to other season 5 outings, the character stuff in this episode was a cut above the rest.
I enjoyed the writing, especially the daddy-daughter stuff. But wasn't the guy who played her dad in this episode, wasn't he on the same basic timeline, sent her to boarding school and all that stuff until the helicopter accident?
Yes.
So that's, I think, what they were talking about, more stuff that did overlap.
Yeah. No, basically the relationships had the same trajectory. They basically had the same relationship, which is boring. It's not as it doesn't shake things up, It just kind of lets them dive right in, but it doesn't provide them to have some kind of back and forth that would allow them to kind of get over their mutual confusion and work towards something.
I think his disbelief and asking Maggie, who are you, is kind of like his military mindset kicking in. Like he didn't trust her. I think because I unintentionally, of course, put myself in that situation. What if this had happened to me? What if this was my daughter? And I think my brain would break a little bit, and I think my brain would want it to be her. So I would go in the opposite direction, trying to believe it is her, even though I saw her die and knew in my heart it wasn't her. I would still want it to be her.
That's a good point. And honestly, that could have played out if they hadn't said, like in their first conversation in his office, that he knows through DNA testing that they are the same person. And he tries to poo-poo it away by saying that she could be a clone. And I guess they have cloning technology on this world, but
apparently,
but to just start with that and then work backwards is less effective than building to that and letting him see that there's something irrefutable about what she is saying.
What do we think about the story of the leader? What story are they trying to tell there? Is it an anti-vaxxing story? Is it an othering story? Is it both? Because I
felt
feel like
anti-vax.
but I think that they wanted to do something deeper about that, about people who are shunned or othered in society for reasons that aren't through no fault of their own.
Yeah.
Well, but and I got to say that I really thought the makeup was good. I haven't seen. He kind of reminded me of Harry on Resident Alien a little bit. It was like the proto Harry. So the makeup didn't bump me at all. I thought it was actually really, really great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to believe in the character. I wanted to at least get the character's point of view, even if it's like Saturday morning Super Friends villain level of why they're doing what they're doing. Anyway, season 1 of Super Friends Saturday morning. The villains always had a good reason for being villains. This guy seemed to have like something like that, and I'm just trying that it was very muddied. What did you guys take away from that?
Well, I found it strange that he said 0.1%, which is 1 in 1,000, had these mutations. So if there are 1 in 1,000 people like him, what's he so hung up about? There'd be a whole society of hybrids like him. I thought maybe 1 in 1,000,000, but 1 in 1,000 is a pretty frequent.
It's 1 in 1,000 that got those vaccines.
Yes.
So maybe they fixed it after a little while.
Yeah, that might not be the whole population.
So it would be like probably very age specific. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be anybody older than him, and then probably not as many people younger than him because they fixed it.
Yeah.
Like people with those circles on their arms.
Yeah, the
Yeah, my,
vaccination
TB.
see,
card.
my brother has one and I don't.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I
What
don't
a
have
difference a
one.
year
That's
makes.
I just
Polio?
missed it by a year or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed
Couple
it by a
years.
year. Yeah. So I was thinking, honestly, could it be like an AIDS allegory for someone who maybe got it through like a transfusion, or are they trying to tell a deeper story there?
Well,
I
this
don't
is
know.
why I
I
thought
don't know.
it felt like they had more story than they could tell in here because they were doing I guess maybe they did have more than one A plot. The Maggie was the A plot, and then the leader I guess was the B plot, but it just wasn't really. I guess it wasn't told very well. Like you're saying, what was his story? Why was he the villain? What was he trying to accomplish? I didn't understand why he wanted Maggie dead.
He wanted her
I guess
body.
he
He
wanted
just
her
wanted to
body.
prove that
Yeah.
that
He
she was on
wanted
Earth.
to
Okay,
Yes,
so
prove
but without her
provide
being
the
able to
living
talk about it.
specimen. Why
he
does he
wanted
have to
to
be dead?
prove that they covered up what happened
Yeah.
to prove that if she's alive, that means he wants to uncover the government conspiracy.
Yeah,
But
conspiracy
because
thing, yeah.
she's going to say, I'm not Maggie Beckett, that didn't happen, he's not going to corroborate his version of events. If she's dead, he can just be like, look, here's her body. She
Oh, I
didn't die.
suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say they could have easily taken some time from the hotel room where they're watching the commemorative plate, or them talking about some like all the X-Files stuff. They could have pulled a minute or two from there to give the B story or the A story some more space to flesh things out. I thought that the leader was great, and Chris, to your point, like I think the makeup effects on him were probably the best we've seen on the Sci-Fi Channel episodes. Like certainly much stronger. And given that he's out in the light and he's in a bunch of different rooms and different settings, like the chromags did not translate as well during the Sci-Fi era. So for the leader, I thought he looked fantastic. I thought the actor
Yes.
did a really good job. Like he was really funny.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he said, even when it was off screen, like he delivered it with great. But yeah, it was definitely his motivation was a little bit lacking. And I laughed when you said that he's from NASA, because you're clearly like on some soundstage with like no walls or whatsoever. It's just wooden walls. Just it's nothing. But even to his point, he said like anyone else on this world would believe that I'm the head of NASA immediately because everyone is so trustworthy. And so I got his through line was that he wanted to show that the government isn't always up to par. They lie sometimes, and I guess that's confusing for people like us who live in this reality where the government is oftentimes less than truthful. But
To say the least.
so I get what he was saying. Like one of those things where it wasn't as important to me what he was, because he's the guest star. I would like to see more from our main cast, and I would have liked to have seen more from what was going on with Maggie. She could dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and I was thinking, okay, we're going to make an allegory about it. Like maybe it would have been interesting to see people who are affected like him being treated like second-class citizens, but then that would have been a completely different episode. It would have been more like North Star on Enterprise.
I liked, but it was nice how Diana was very open to him. Like she did not display any prejudice. She was very interested in what he had to say. She was fascinated by him. And I don't know if she was fascinated from a scientific perspective, but also just a personal. Like she was not someone that was prejudiced against him or what he was doing.
Can I ask a question? Maybe this is just because story or because plot and whatever the plot dictates for whatever episode. One of the conceits on Quantum was that Sam had to convince the people around him that he was the person he leapt into, otherwise he might not leap. Did the Sliders have like a rule where they had to hide that they were Sliders, or like, because I was throughout this episode, I'm wondering, they see you're obviously a double or a clone. The jig is up. Why are you being so reticent to expose? And then I think it was Diana that finally says, or maybe they expose it to the leader. I'm not really sure. It comes out eventually, but what was the reticence there? Is that just because this story called for it for dramatic purposes, or do we get that a lot in the series as a whole?
So you said earlier that the series kind of takes the premise and makes the characters fit the premise. And that is something, what you're bringing up is very much series wide. Like they will be cagey about where they're coming from when the plot demands it, or they will be straight up. They will talk about who they are, where they are. There was an entire episode where their legal defense was that they were sliders and that they broadcast that. So it really is just what does the plot, how do they service the plot? Ideally, they should be very tight-lipped and keep that pretty close to the vest, but they often are not.
Yeah, it just strikes me as like what benefit it is of it. Like it's not like they won't slide if somebody finds out who they are or whatever. Like, and they seem very cavalier about sliding into that poor woman's house, scaring her half to death, and then walking down the sidewalk laughing about it, saying, "Oh, we'll just be another UFO sighting or something like that." Like, screw you, lady, we just ruined your life. I mean, I guess after how many worlds you can't, you got to break a couple eggs to make an omelet, right?
You all are very lucky I don't have any yellow towels, or that would have been my outfit tonight.
Albie would have been throwing slippers left and right.
You know what would keep them from sliding, though, is if someone takes the timer.
Yeah.
And I think either side in this, I don't know who was holding the timer in this episode.
I think Remy.
But I think either side of these people could have taken that timer if they revealed this too early.
True.
Totally.
It's almost like when Thomas Edison took the Omni apart. And anyway, yeah, I'm talking about Voyagers now.
Okay. I thought it was interesting when they were reviewing the DVDs of the alternate history of Roswell not being a cover-up, and how she had to explain it to them. I'm sure on your Earths it was covered up.
Yeah.
And like I was thinking, isn't everybody from a different Earth?
Yeah.
Pretty much at this point.
Yeah, but it was interesting. But that and then showing the Greys meeting with whoever was the president in this timeline.
Adlai Stevenson. Yeah.
Yep. And then so I'm picturing a Grey. So when the alien turns around, the hybrid, the genetically altered one turns around, I was disappointed by the makeup because I was expecting, something like you would see from Stargate. But like a gray alien, but then it was just a guy with a butt head, and I was like, huh? But then they explained it why, he's a human, and then it took the DNA. So I was like, okay, that's a good way to explain it.
Also, I mean, what better place to be a butthead than in Hill Valley?
I will say that I liked I did like some of the humor in this, like even when they're talking about like Remy's like, oh, like all these technologies that came out, Velcro and whatever else that he said. I'm like, and then
Velcro gets a callback.
Yeah, and then they do that later on too. It's like the leader's saying it, like, yeah, Velcro and.
Made me think of Carbon Creek.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are just throwing some deep Enterprise cuts out in this one.
It's my fault.
North Star and Carbon Creek.
Sorry, I've become a bit obsessed with Enterprise lately, so Albie is frequently subject to my rantings. So
nobody my age that doesn't remember Carbon Creek because of that laundry scene, I think.
There was one thing though. I mean, that it was pretty neat that the guy was walking the mailbox. It reminded me of when the guy in Star Trek: The Motion Picture when they had the anti-grav units, and I thought that you could tell it was a little bit of a blue screen going on, but
a little bit underneath it. I think at times, there was like a stand, but other times I thought it was maybe like a helium kind of balloon on a stick.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It was just one of those leashes with the invisible dog that you can buy at a technology shop.
Same tech.
It is Hill Valley, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the other thing I was thinking of. It's like Hill Valley in the future, right?
Yeah.
The 2015 version of Hill, the past future of Hill Valley. So.
All right. Is there anything that we need to talk about before we wrap it up, or just because it's getting late for me, guys? So
I just enjoyed it. I loved it. It made me happy, and I was excited to watch it. And I really appreciate Matt, you recommending it, and Damon and Mike putting this all together. It was a fun episode to watch, and it makes me want to watch more of season 5, like Stacie said, which is just crazy to me because I never thought about ever watching season 5. I was going to lose Damon's phone number when they got to this season, but I changed my mind.
It starts strong. It starts very strong.
It's really funny because I never even remembered there was a season 5, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So it was like watching a new episode of Sliders with all different characters.
Yeah.
And it didn't just make me want to watch. It made me watch. Didn't make me want to. It made me watch 2 other episodes after. So it did something right. I know, tongue in cheek, I'm kind of crapping on it because it's just funny to make fun of it. But I mean, it really did intrigue me because the completist in me is just like, oh, who's this new character? And what's this Mallory guy all about? And how is it all fitting together? And I know it's Sliders. When I get those answers, I will be disappointed, but I still want the answers. So, go team.
Yeah. All right. Any lines we got that we do we want to do the goofs, Mike, or
Goofs? Well, the one goof I want to mention, Maggie complained about not having possessions because they're sliding all the time, but then Mallory sold her chewed up toothbrush. But how chewed up could it have been after maybe 1 or 2 uses?
She was saying they don't have possessions like photo albums. They don't have sentimental things.
Oh, so she might carry her.
I'm sure she sticks the toothbrush in her pocket. I mean,
Okay,
it's small enough.
That
she
makes
can
more
carry
sense.
it.
I have a feeling if I was sliding world to world, dental health might not be my top priority.
There is only so many things you can bring, which would make you upset to lose one of them, I guess.
Yeah, toothbrush. What if you're like 30 days on a world with no toothbrushes or something?
Right? You should always bring your towel too. So
That's right.
Yeah.
Very fruity.
yeah.
Okay, well, I had 2 lines. I like the Maggie says, we've seen the X-Files, and Mallory says, the what files?
Yeah, the what files?
He's the poor guy, comes from a world without the X-Files.
Yeah.
Oof.
Actually, I had a question on that. I didn't think of it till just now. Aren't Mallory and Diana from the same world?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
So she's bringing up the X-Files?
No, Maggie.
Or...
Maggie.
Oh, Maggie.
Maggie
Okay.
brought it up.
Okay.
Mhm.
Don't you think that like Quinn
wow.
is somewhere in Mallory's head? Like,
Somewhere.
yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. Where
Right.
is he?
Right.
He's
You know what it
not
is?
Depends on the
popping up
episode.
at all.
Do you remember the
It
end
depends on
of
the episode.
the end of Being John Malkovich when John Cusack is stuck in the girl's head, just like looking out her eyes, but he's just
Malkovich.
trapped. Malkovich.
Malkovich.
That's like Quinn.
Malkovich.
He's like stuck in a little prison in Mallory's skull.
Malkovich.
I guess.
Like that, yeah.
Malkovich.
Malkovich.
And he's just like, you guys are so stupid. I've had this solved by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Little House on the Prairie brother could have had this solved by now. Get rid of that.
And I liked, finally, I liked Diana's line where she said, why would a world without conspiracies need men in black?
That's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a world without conspiracy still has conspiracy theorists, and it was odd that he was actually right, but he was willing to lie to prove that he was right.
Yeah.
He was kinda right.
Kind of right.
Yeah.
He knew there was something being covered up, but he was wrong about what was being covered up.
Right.
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 Kind of right.
Kind of right. Yeah.
All right. So we want to just do our final thoughts and ratings on this because we're already running long. So
Yeah, sure.
all right. Whoever wants to go first. Final thoughts and ratings.
You know what, I'll go because I kind of said mine already.
Yeah.
I just found this episode to be more intriguing than I anticipated. It makes me want to get back into sliding a little bit, so I might watch some more season 5 episodes just to get regrounded in the characters and get that complete sort of history in my head. And I guess if we're going to give it a rating, I'm going to give it
Out of 10.
out of 10. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going
out
to
of
give
10.
it 3. Oh, out of 10, I'll give it 6 floaty post office mail thingies out of 10.
All right. Matt, you go.
So, despite all of the shade I was throwing at this episode, I really do think it's a lovely piece. Certainly one of my favorites for the sci-fi era, and definitely one I'm so glad that I watched it again. So thank you for inviting me out to force me to do this. I would say And it's funny, and this is good timing because I'm writing a review of it for our website, so I had to watch it, and I'll be taking some of your words to heart as I put that together. But I would say, give it an A, so I'll give it 9 out of 10 toothbrushes.
Okay.
Or commemorative plates, whichever one will fit into my my backpack.
All right. Well, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I might have a new crush because I totally forgot about this other beautiful woman on Sliders besides Kari Word. So I might have to watch a couple more episodes like you, Chris. Overall, great pick for an episode, and the emotion, the dad and daughter stuff got me. I bought in the whole time, not like you guys. And by the end, I was basically almost in tears. So for going from backlot problems to in tears in the space of a few minutes, I'm going to definitely say the writing was great and the specific actors' acting was great. So with that, I'm going to give it 7.9 out of 10 supernumerary nipples.
Stacie, I think you're the lowest.
Yeah. So okay, it was missing something. It was missing like some structure or something. Like something was there, but something was definitely missing. And I mean, it was okay, but I know I forgot it once already that the episode even exists. So that says something. So I rated it 5 broken windows out of 10.
Mike, I'll go last.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, final thoughts. It was like I said. It was enjoyable. It was okay. It had its quirks, but when we get around to season 5, I'm sure it will stand out as one of the better. So I'm rating it 6.5 Neon Riders out of 10.
All right. Let me finish it up. Okay. So I know I didn't have a lot to say during the conversation, but everybody, I pretty much had like a lot of the same points. And like Mike said, when we will eventually revisit this at some point later on, we'll go into a little more detail specifically. But I'm giving it 6 pieces of chicken out of a 10-piece Beckett of chicken.
Ah, woo! Good one. Slow clap.
But how much macaroni and cheese?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody used that. That was my backup if somebody took mine.
All right, thank you guys.
Great episode, great time.
Yeah, this was great. I don't know if we even need to say what we're all from. I think it'll all be in description, I guess.
I think maybe we should just give a refresher as to why we're talking about the episode, because Albie, there's something important that we're doing this for, right?
We are doing a fundraiser for Serenity Burdge to go to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama this spring. So with your help, you can make it happen. The down payment's been made and people been donating left and right, and we're getting to our goal. So hopefully Serenity gets to go to Huntsville, Alabama, go to space camp, and hopefully there's a thermal curtain failure and they have to launch the space shuttle from Huntsville, Alabama in Florida, and there's a robot and she goes to space, but hopefully she comes back safe because we don't want her to end up like Maggie Beckett.
No.
So how do they do that, Stacie? How do they find out where to go?
Go to GoFundMe.com/Serenity Space Camp and make a donation if you can. But please share out all the links.
Yes. And there's a QR code and give all your money.
All right. I guess take us out, Mike. Just to be sure to like and subscribe. That's all we need to do, right? Yeah. All right. Take it out, Mike.
All right. Well, be sure to check out the shared playlist for the previous video reviews from Treksploration, the Quantum Leap podcast after show, KORMAN Productions Deep Dive TV podcast, That Star Trek podcast, and Station 823.
Woo!
And once you've done all that, or before you go do all that, actually, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And please share your opinions about this episode in the comments. I don't know if we'll include it in the next roundup, but maybe.
Eventually.
We'll see. This is the bonus. We'll enjoy them anyway. In the meantime, you can also visit our website at fandomentanglement.com, where you can find all of our past videos, links to our social media channels, where we're on the YouTubes, of course, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Mastodon.
Blue skies, smile at me.
So,
Nothing but blue skies do I see.
so this is a lot of
Ooh,
fun.
we just got more pledges, so this is working.
Nice.
And it hasn't
Sweet.
even been released yet.
You guys.
Amazing.
That's the power of love.
All right. Until next time, I'm Damon.
Yeah, and I'm Mike.
I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
I'm Stacie.
I'm Matt.
And we'll see you next time. See you out in space,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
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 GoFundMe.com/Serenity Space Camp.
Yay.
Yeah.